how to edit a video in Final Cut Pro for beginners from start to finish. And I'm going to walk you through the 10 steps to take you from complete noob or complete beginner to making your first high quality video edit in Final Cut Pro. And if you do like this at any point, drop the thumbs up button. So when you come into Final Cut Pro, this is what you see. This is the screen you'll see when you open it. The bottom here is probably what I would call a timeline. Here, where we've got this black box, is your viewfinder. So as soon as you start editing, your videos will show up here. On the left here, we have our media pool, if you like. Creating your first project. So if we want to edit a video, we need to tell Final Cut Pro that we want to create a library and a project within that library. What we're going to do is we're going to go File, New, Library, and then just title this whatever you want to title it and save where you want. And this is basically telling Final Cut Pro where you want to store your videos. I've already created one, it's called Test. And then once you created your library, you want to go File again, New, and then Project. And again, just call it Test Video Edit. Change the video format to whatever you want, either 4K or 1080p. I'll probably just keep it at 4K. Resolution will be at 3840 because that is 4K. And then set your frame rate here to whatever the frame rate is that you shot your video on your camera or your phone. I'm set here to 30 frames a second, and then leave the rendering as it is, leave the audio and click OK. And you'll see here we have our test project here ready to go. So next step, we want to import our footage, and there's two ways to do this. You can either double click on File, or so you click File and then click Import and then Media, and then you can navigate using Final Cut Pro's menu here to import the videos you want. Or you can do what I like to do, and that's just simply drag your footage underneath the test video edit. So I'm just going to grab a couple of clips in here from a recent trip away, and you can either drag them here or you can drag them straight onto your timeline, which is what I like to do because I tend to edit my videos chronologically. So I edit my videos as the day happen when I'm making a video. And you'll see here at the top of the screen there's a little red circle, or a little white circle, sorry, and that is the task. It's like a background tasks manager, and it shows you what Final Cut Pro is working on. And you can see here it's importing the media and creating thumbnails and waveforms. So if you start editing right now, you may experience a little bit of lag as Final Cut Pro is doing its magic. That's how you import your footage. I just generally just drag it in here. So trimming and clipping clips. Obviously, when you create a video, you're going to want to trim and cut certain parts of your video footage to make it nice and concise and create a nice story. So how we do that, we're in the timeline now, and you can see I'm just scrubbing through the timeline here. I'm just moving my mouse across the clip, or you can drag this bar here, which will also slide to where you want it. To cut the clip, all you need to do is Command and B if you're on a Mac, which adds a break there. You can then press delete on the piece of the clip that you don't want, and it will get rid of it, and it will move all the other clips up to it. It's like magnetic. Another way to do this, you can simply drag the start of your clip to the play header here, and it will snap to the play header and then delete it. If you don't want that magnetic feature on, like I just showed you, you can click here, which is the magnetic snapping tool. Turn it off and your clip won't snap to the playhead. It's actually quite for more precise movements. I like to keep the clipping tool on for the first pass through my video because it's just faster. You can also split the clip different places, and if you pull this middle bit out, it will pull the end clip back to the middle. So what I would do is I would work through my footage, and I would call this a first pass, and I would basically just get my clips to a place where I'm kind of happy with how they look. There's kind of a story going on. I wouldn't try to think of making a full edited video right now. Just go through in your first pass and just trim the clips and get them into some sort of order. Now my next point is music. So how do we add music to videos? So I've got two different ways you can do this. One is a free way and one is a paid way. So the first way, the free way, you can use YouTube's audio library. You simply do a Google search for YouTube audio library or search YouTube audio library on YouTube, and you'll get access to a huge bank of music. You can see here there's about 1,221 tracks on here. There's sound effects as well, which is kind of useful. This is free though, so you can't expect too much for this, okay? So don't think you're going to be getting absolutely everything you need. It's not the greatest. It'll get you by, but if you really want to take your filmmaking and video into the next level, I would highly recommend using Epidemic Sound, which is my preferred company that I get my music from, and I pay a monthly subscription for this of like £10, but I get access to literally hundreds of thousands of songs and sound effects. Yeah, this thing is really cool, and it actually syncs to your YouTube channel if you've got one of those, and it'll kind of recommend you music of what you like or what you download, recommending you more of what you want to hear. And it's really good as well, so if you can really find the tune to fit what you want to bring out in your video. So I really like Epidemic Sound. There is a link below, which is my affiliate link to go and grab I think a trial of Epidemic Sound. Well worth it. Go and check that out if you want some kick-ass music for your video. So how do we add this music to your video in Final Cut Pro? Let's just say you have your song and you've saved that MP3 file to your computer. I'm just going to download one now off Epidemic Sound real quickly. I don't really know what this song is. I'm just going to download it so we can add it and show you the process of adding it to your video. So once you have your MP3, simply drag it below your video in Final Cut Pro. So now if we play it now, we should have music. The thing with this though is we now need to adjust the audio levels of each of these clips. Can you see here how this is called peaking? So I can actually zoom in on the timeline here to get a bit closer. I'm just using my fingers on the tracking pad, zoom in 2 fingers out. And you see this yellow there, that means it's peaking and it's not going to come across the best. So I usually drop it down a little bit. You can play around with the audio levels of this and as well the audio levels of your video clips just by dragging this here. Alternatively as well, you can change the audio in the top right up here, which is useful if you select the clip you want to edit or the audio and then click this sound option, and you have an option here to just play around with the volume slider. So now you've got your video and you've got some audio on it. Now let's look at how we can add text to our video. Text is really simple to add. We simply want to go to the top left up here and you'll see titles and generators. Underneath the titles tab, you will have a ton of different titles to choose from. Some are animated, some are just block. Let's just use a basic one for now, so I'm going to search basic. And you simply click and drag this on top of your video. And you can expand or contract the length of this title depending on where you want it. And to edit the title, you simply highlight it, go to the top right up here and click this second button in, which is like text inspector, and then edit your text here. And underneath here you'll see we can adjust the size, we can adjust the font, all sorts of fonts to choose from. Have a play around with that. That's in its basic form of how to add text to your video. Next thing you might want to add is a transition. So if you're transitioning from one scene to another, you may want to add some sort of dissolve or fade or something like that. So it's not just like a cut that it just literally just cuts from one scene to the other. On the right here, we have this transitions browser. If you click that, you will get access to a ton of different transitions. I like to use the cross dissolve, which is quite cool. And you'd simply just add it to the split between 2 of your clips. And it will ask you if you want to create a transition, and then you can adjust how fast that transition is or how long it is. So let's just play and show you. There we go. And we can speed that up if you want, so it's faster, or we can pull it out and make it longer. So again, there's all sorts in here. Have a play around, all sorts of different blurs, wipes, and movement to make your video a little bit more energetic. So now we're going to move on to color grading or color correction. This is where you get to fine tune the look of your video. How we can color grade, if you click on the clip that you want to color grade, so we're just basically going to edit the colors in this video, you go to the right here and click this triangle, and then what I like to do here is click color wheels. You can adjust the different aspects of this clip. So the master is basically a whole look at your clip. We've got shadows, highlights, midtones, temperature, all this stuff. And I could do a video just on color grading. But for basics, on the color wheel, on the left, this is your saturation. So you can see that it's getting more saturated and less saturated. And this is the lightness and darkness. So we can pull the shadows and make the shadows darker. We can make the highlights lighter or darker. We can add more saturation to them. Again, have a play around with this. There are infinite possibilities, and I probably will do a video on color grading because this is really, really a big topic. If you have color graded one of your clips and you want to apply that same color grade to your whole video, what you want to do is you press Command and C on the clip that you have just color corrected, and then you press Shift, Command and V on the other clips that you want to add the color correction to. Make sure this color wheel 1 or your effect is selected, or what other video attributes you change. You want to copy over and just click paste, and then you'll notice now that color correction has been added to this clip also. So that's how you do some basic color correction. Now once you're happy with your video and you're ready to export it, what we do now is we want to click this top right corner and then master file, and first of all we want to name our video. So give your video a title, a description if you want. This is more just for organizing your footage. And then you'll see here the size. It'll show you the size of your footage. Click settings. If you upload it to somewhere like YouTube, I probably would stick with web hosting. And then I would always just keep it at better quality for the video codec. Doesn't really matter too much. Resolution would always be 3840 if you're exporting at 4K. If you go to 1920, you'll see that not only is the resolution at 1080 here, the file size is a lot smaller as well. So you see if I put it up, it's massive. And then click next. Tell Final Cut Pro where you want to save it, and then click save. And that is the basics of how to use Final Cut Pro to edit your very first video from start to finish. Give this video a like if it was useful to you. Drop a comment below if you've got anything to do with Final Cut Pro, and I will make a video on it. And yeah, see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed it.